Coming up in today's video.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! Look at this little guy! Hey, buddy! it's, not, it's not coming through.
How's it going, everybody? Today we are going to go through the past couple of months of me trying to grow some vegetables. And we are going to pick up back in February of 2024. That is when I decided to kind of start my own garden, and the very first thing that I wanted to do was to build a greenhouse. Now, I don't really know much about greenhouses, so I jumped on the interwebs and looked around, and I decided to buy this one here that was 6 meters by 3 meters by 2 meters, and a couple of days later the greenhouse arrived.
Alright, well, here is the greenhouse. We have a bunch of pipes here, which are all numbered, so hopefully that's gonna help me put it together. Then we have tons of bolts, and I'm guessing this is the tarp that's gonna go on top. And let me see, more pipes down here. And luckily, we also have instructions. I was afraid that it wasn't gonna come with instructions and I was gonna struggle, but hopefully we'll be able to do this.
Alright, well, the greenhouse is up and running. It only took me about a day to put it together. It wasn't all that hard. The only issue that I have with this is that the tarp, right, this thing right up here, is being held together with this small nylon string. I have one here, one on the bottom. I have some in every corner, but it's like only 4 here, 4 on this side at the door, and 4 on the other door. So what I had to do, I actually had to bury the tarp on the outside. So on the outside I have more tarp, so I buried it in the ground so the wind doesn't take it away. I might have to think of another solution just so I make sure that this is nice and stable, but for right now it's great. The wind is not blowing it away. It's kind of windy outside, but it's being held together nicely by the string and by the dirt. By the dirt and by the string. I might have to put another string on the outside or something, but for now it's okay. Of course, it was still too early to start planting, so while I waited for the weather to warm up a bit, I decided to take care of the trees. Alright, well, we are up in the tree. I mean, we're not up in the tree, we're on a ladder here, but look at all these branches that I have to cut. Look at all this stuff here. It's gonna take me forever, and it's just one tree, so they go crazy with the branches, so I'm trying to prune them. I think that's the correct term, but what I'm trying to do is I'm basically trying to keep them under control so they don't grow like crazy. And I've also realized that I've come up here without the thing that I need to cut them. I've just seen it. It's down there, so I have to go back down the ladder to pick it up because I'm stupid. I forgot to take it. Pruning the trees takes me quite a bit of time because I'm no expert, but I'm getting better every year, and I really enjoy taking care of the trees, removing the extra branches and all the broken ones as well. And this year I think I did a pretty good job because all the trees had tons and tons of flowers. Whenever they are in full bloom, that is when we can see that the hard work that we put in really paid off. But after taking care of the trees, I also prepared the ground in between the trees because that is where I was planning on planting some potatoes. Alright, so here are the potatoes that we are going to plant in the garden. I'm a big fan of potatoes. I really like them. We have 2 bags. Each are about 25 kilos, so we have around 50 kilos of potatoes to plant in the garden. Now, I've planted potatoes last year as well, and they were really easy to maintain. Last year I only planted 1 bag, but this year I went for 2 of them because I had the space, and as I've said, they're really easy to maintain. We just have to stick them in the ground. Then the weather happens and they grow, and all we gotta do is make sure that the bugs don't eat their leaves, and then take care of the extra grass and weeds that grow in between them. And I'm happy to say that the potatoes were a success this year as well. Alright, so this is the first potato field and I'm extremely happy with it. All the potatoes are out and they're so big as well. Look at them. They're big and they're gorgeous, and luckily no bugs have appeared, at least not so far. So hopefully we're not gonna have any problems with the bugs coming in and eating all of their leaves. And I've actually been kind of taking care of this field here for the past 2 days. I've cleared, you know, the weeds and whatnot, and today I'm actually working on the second field, which is much bigger than this one. Alright, so this is the second field, which is much bigger than the other one. I've actually been working on it, trying to clear all the weeds. I've done about half of it. I still have all that to do. Look at this. Look at all these weeds, man.
I mean, here's the potato, and then we have all these weeds growing. I always come and remove them, but they always just grow back.
So the potatoes were doing well, the trees were doing well. I also have some strawberries growing in the yard and they had tons and tons of flowers. I planted some cucumbers and some tomatoes in the greenhouse. I was actually really happy with how things were going, but then...
Well, it rained with ice. Look at this stuff. My goodness. Alright, well, it's the morning after that ice storm, and my onions are pretty messed up here. I think they're gonna recover. They're a bit bendy, but it's just the leaves. The important bit in the ground should be fine. So look at this, the ice just knocked the fruits right at the tree. So underneath every tree I have a bunch of fruits like this and a bunch of flowers. So hopefully we'll still have a couple of fruits to munch on come summertime, but we lost a bunch of them unfortunately from that bloody storm. Well, at least the strawberries look alright. I can still see the flowers, and I think some of them started to make the actual strawberry as well. Check it out. That right there is a strawberry. And some of them still have flowers. So I think we're gonna munch on some strawberries in a few weeks.
The storm did a bit of damage outside, but inside of the greenhouse everything was alright. And a few weeks after I planted the cucumbers...
Oh, check it out. We actually have some cucumbers growing. Heck yeah. And I've attached all of the cucumbers to this string because the cucumbers are gonna grow fairly tall. So we got this string going all the way up, and I've put some at every cucumber. Not all of them actually. We have some smaller ones as well. So some of the cucumbers didn't actually catch roots, so they died, so I had to replace them. So these ones are fairly small, so I don't have anything attached to them, but the bigger ones... Oh, look at that! Look at that! Nice! I cannot believe how many cucumbers are actually growing. And of course the grass is growing as well. I've removed the grass from in here about 4 times and it's still growing.
I think I've spent most of my time taking care of the weeds.
It keeps growing! The more I remove, the more grows.
And of course I took care of the plants, you know, I watered them and removed all the extra bits, all the bad leaves. But as I was doing all that, the strawberries ripened.
So here's the thing that I like to do with the strawberries. I like to stick them in the blender with a banana and then some ice cream. Here we go, strawberries are in. Now for the banana, and all we need, ice cream. Alright, and up next we have some vanilla ice cream, which we're also going to stick up in our blender. Right, so everything is in. We got the strawberries, we got the banana, we got the ice cream, and now... And here we go. Some good num-nums. it's not, it's not coming through. Oh my god, it's too thick. It's too thick. It's too thick for the straw. Man, I was trying to be all fancy for the camera with the straw and everything, but usually, if I'm gonna be honest, I drink it straight from the blender. Cheers, everybody. Oh my, that is so good.
Now when it comes to the greenhouse, things went fairly well, and I say fairly well because some of the tomato flowers withered away unfortunately. I took care of them the best I could, from pruning them to making sure that the insects didn't eat them and whatnot. But some of the flowers didn't produce the actual tomato, but still I got to munch on quite a few of them throughout the summer. And now when it comes to the cucumbers, they produced tons of them. They grew really tall all the way up to the roof of the greenhouse and they made quite a lot of cucumbers. They were very tasty as well. Same goes for the tomatoes, they were very tasty. And I've also planted some things outside, like some peppers, which grew pretty well, and some cherry tomatoes as well. And same goes for the trees. Even though we lost a lot of fruits to the ice earlier in the year, they still had quite a few left. Plums and apples, cherries and whatnot, I got to munch on them all, so I was pretty happy with how things were going.
Well, as I've said at the beginning of the video, I'm no expert, but things are going pretty well.
Now, of course, saying that things are going well is a terrible idea because usually immediately after that something bad is going to happen, and something bad did happen. You remember when I said that I was really happy with the potatoes? Well, I was, because they grew really well. on the surface, but in the ground, well,
Well, this is kind of unfortunate. The potatoes grew, but they didn't grow all that big, and I think this is because there wasn't enough moisture. It didn't really rain all that much. We had that ice rain, and then we didn't really have much after that. So the potatoes, they grew, but look at this. It's just they are super, super small. So we're gonna find some bigger ones as well, but most of them are gonna be really small. So this is the one that I've planted. Then look, they have all these roots, and the potatoes that did grow, well, they didn't really grow all that big. I've done my best to actually water them here and there, but since we didn't really have all that much rain, well, look at this, it's like a small egg.
this past year has been really dry. It didn't really rain all that much, and the temperatures have been just crazy. Most days we had almost 40 degrees Celsius or even over that in the shade. So the plants that were out and about in the sun all day suffered quite a bit, but of course I did find some bigger potatoes as well. And when it comes to cooking the potatoes, well, let's just say I'm no chef.
Alright, well, we're not gonna make anything too fancy. We have some potatoes right here, which I've seasoned with this stuff right over here, and we're basically just gonna stick them in the air fryer. Alright, so just gonna put them in here. And here we go. Right, we have potatoes. We're gonna go for, let's do 195 degrees, and we're gonna do them for 15 minutes. Here we go. Alright, well, let's see here. Ooh, check it out. That's some good num-nums right there. Well, I can't cook much, but I can make sandwiches, and I can also air fry some potatoes. And that's because the machine does 99% of the job. Well, then there we go. Oh, hot, 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 oh. Hot but delicious. They're very good. And I grew them in the yard.
Alright, we started all this with the greenhouse, and I think it's only fair that we end it with the greenhouse. Now it's about the end of July almost, and of course the season is far from over. I still have a bunch of things growing, the tomatoes and the cucumbers, a bunch of things outside as well. The tomatoes are growing really well right now. We have tons and tons of tomatoes. The cucumbers on the other side are all but done. They're kind of past their expiration date. They're still gonna last, a few weeks, but I have new ones growing right now. So whenever these ones that I have in the greenhouse are gonna be done, I'm gonna, take them out of the ground, and I'm going to replace them with new ones. So come fall time, we're still gonna have some cucumbers to munch on, which is gonna be great. And yeah, well, it's been an interesting year to say the least. It flew by so fast. It's already the end of July, which I can't even believe it, but there we go. That's about it from me. I hope everybody enjoyed my struggles with growing some vegetables. In case you did, be sure to drop some stuff and things down below. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one with some more video games. Wait, what? Video games? Well, I guess so. We'll see. We'll see where things take us.